Welcome ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dychronic, your host on this Destiny 2 video, and today we're going to be taking a look at the best new weapons in Season of the Wish. And so what I've done is I've looked at all the new weapons, all 44 new weapons, picked my favorite 20 based on the stats, the comparisons, the newness, the uniqueness, and the coolness of all the new stuff. I'm going to be telling you what I think is worth going to get and the reasons why. Then the three main factors that I look at is, first of all, if it's a unique thing, if it's a new frame of weapon, or very interesting exotic that I think would be good. Secondly, if it has really good perk combinations and I think it's going to be meta, or it has a unique combination of perks that we haven't seen before. And I tried to give a wide berth to a lot of these options, even though I probably wouldn't use some of these things. I know a lot of people might, and I picked the best ones that I think are worth using. Right, so without further ado, let's get started. First up, we have the new exotic rocket launcher known as Dragon's Breath. Now this one is a Destiny 1 rocket that used to fire a rocket that just created a solar grenade at the target, and well, Destiny 1 had Gjallarhorn, and Destiny 2 still has Gjallarhorn. I still think Gjallarhorn is going to be better, but this one is actually kind of fun. And the fact that it comes from the Season Pass, finally a decent Season Pass option, is really good. If you haven't seen it, essentially it fires a rocket and sticks to a target, then starts jutting out fuel, igniting and scorching targets all around it, allowing you to ignite multiple times. And the more that you ignite and scorch targets, it fills up fuel on this particular weapon and allows you to fire another rocket with more fuel that does more damage and also autoloads as well. Overall, seems like a decent boss killer, seems like a good ad clear for the entire area, and it's just a really cool weapon. Following that, we have the Lethal Abundance, which is a strand auto rifle of the high impact frame, which is the 360s, and I believe this comes from Iron Banner. It's a new weapon we haven't seen before, and it will come on obviously the first Iron Banner. Now to be clear, I don't usually like this type of auto rifle. I'm much more of a 720 rapid fire frame, but this one has some pretty unique perks that we haven't really seen before. Firstly, Onslaught. Onslaught being a unique ritual perk that used to be on Breakneck, which by the way, Breakneck is back this season with Onslaught, and a lot of other auto rifles also have Onslaught, as well as a heavy machine gun we'll talk about later on. If you haven't heard of it, Onslaught is where final blows with this weapon increase the fire rate, and to a pretty considerable degree, and it's a lot of fun. A perk that used to be thought of as an exotic style perk and unfair is now on lots of different legendary auto rifles, and this one being a slower fire rate could mean it could output some pretty serious damage. Alternatively, it has some other perks that are pretty good too, like Target Lock, which a lot of people like in the Crucible or in PvE, and it has a new perk that I call Slice, where casting your class ability allows the weapon to sever targets for a short brief period of time. Now, I don't think this is a particularly good perk, but it is fun to say. After that, we have the Tigerspite, a precision frame 450 auto rifle. Again, I like 720s, but this one has a lot of really good perks on it. It has something like Kill Clip, Frenzy, Demo, Kinetic Tremors, and that's only column 4. Column 3 has Subsistence, Overflow, Moving Target. This one drops pretty much everywhere in the Dreaming City, as well as having an origin trait, which we didn't see the last time we got it in Forsaken. And I think we also got it a second time between then. Following that, we have the Scatter Signal, which is, I believe, the first strand rapid-fire fusion rifle. And if you haven't heard, rapid-fire fusion rifles are better in PvE in almost every way. They have better DPS, and they have better full ammo damage, and they're really not that different when it comes to range. They're just the better fusion rifle archetype for PvE. And this one obviously has some fun perks, although not the best perks. In case you didn't know, this comes from the Season of the Wish stuff, which means that it is craftable, which gotta love craftable. On this particular option, we have Controlled Burst, which is a great perk to have, and you can combine that up with Perpetual Motion, or Overflow, or perhaps even Slice. And honestly, the origin trait here, Dragon's Vengeance, sounds pretty good, allowing you to refill your magazine whenever you get critical wound, or your ally dies, which I assume is going to happen a lot during a DPS phase. After that, we have the Blissarius D, which is the new glory weapon. So this one obviously just drops in competitive, and it is an aggressive 4-burst 450 pulse rifle. And this one obviously has that weird, instead of an origin trait, we have a bunch of other stat boosting stocks, which is obviously unfair, but hey, it's glory and competitive, it's fancy. And it also has a lot of really great perks on it. It has Kill Clip, it has Moving Target, it has Head Seeker or Zen Moment, just in column 4. In column 3, it has Slice, it has Rapid Hit, it has Elemental Capacitor, and even if you want to have Vorp. So trying so hard to keep a straight face on this Slice thing, because it's so fun. But yeah, 4 bursts are something that a lot of people do like. Obviously, there's that one from the Vow of Disciple raid that people like, and this one is going to be in that kinetic slot, and with some good stats and great perks. Following that, we have the return of the Reese Walker, which is a lightweight frame kinetic slot shotgun. And although lightweight shotguns aren't as popular as they used to be, these are some pretty damn good perks. First of all, Iron Reach, plus 20 range for 30 less stability on a shotgun is incredible. You could alternatively also get opening shot. For the third column, you could have surplus, you could have killing wind or slide shot, and all of these things will help you get better range or control. And in case you're wondering, if you pick these particular perks, full choke, accurize, slide shot, and iron reach, you can literally max out your range. Of course, you start at 85, and when you slide, you get plus 20, allowing you to get to 100 range with this shotgun. And it already has some really good handling. You can even take one of these and put a little bit more into handling because you're really maxing it out. After that, we have a returning Trials weapon, the Eye of Soul, which is very popular as an adaptive frame, 90 RPM sniper in the kinetic slot with a lot of really great perks. Things like snapshot or opening shot in that fourth column. In the third column, we have moving target, no distractions, or perpetual motion, allowing you to have so many options to do great things in the Crucible. And although it does have firing line, I've found that the rapid fire snipers are much better in PvE for that damage output. Things like supremacy, getting that kinetic bonus, having the rewind wounds, and the bait and switch is just uncomputable. After that, we have the Cold Front, which is one of the new dawning weapons that we'll see in the Christmas event, which is an aggressive frame kinetic submachine gun. I just want to point out, I actually forgot the aggressive frames got nerfed from a 750 to 720. This particular option has a lot of great stuff going for it. First of all, it has terrible stability. Most aggressive frames do, this one has even worse. Recoil at 92 is okay, easily brought up to 100 with like an extended barrel or something, and some really great perks. We got Rampage, One for All, Frenzy, Rangefinder. You can pair that up with Perpetual Motion, Subsistence, Stats for All, Tap the Trigger, Rewind Wounds. A lot of really great stuff, and you'll be getting thousands of these during the event because they drop like candy, and make sure you pick up a good one. After that, we have a new and unique weapon, although I don't think it's going to be insanely good. We have the Incisor, which is the first kinetic slot legendary trace rep. This one in particular is a strand variety. We also have the other one, which is easier to get and part of the Season of the Wish stuff, but I think this one has better perks on it. More accurately, it has target lock or killing tally, which I'm sure is going to be popular in the Crucible, and furthermore, it has Schleiss and some other perks as well. I don't know. Again, I don't think it's going to be amazing, but because it's the first kinetic slot trace rifle legendary, it might fit in your builds if you like trace rifle. After that, we have the Ross Oraga 4, which honestly, this looks like a Destiny 1 weapon. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if this is literally a Destiny 1 blue auto rifle that I've used countless times. And there's a couple reasons why I like it. First of all, adaptive frame auto rifles I think are probably one of the best. I definitely prefer the 720s, they're really nice. This one has some okay stats on it, although the range could be a little bit higher. Where it obviously benefits is gonna be in the perks. First of all, it has Onslaught, 600 RPM with Onslaught. I wanna see a 720 with Onslaught one of these days. Alternatively, you have other great perks. You can do attrition orbs, you can do surrounded, you can do the repulsor brace stuff if you wanna go void stuff, although it does not have destabilizing rounds. There's just a bunch of random eclectic perks, and again, Onslaught. After that, we have the new Nightfall unique for this season, the Undercurrent, which is an arc wave frame. So obviously very similar to the Forbearance, and a lot of really good perks. Things like Volt Shot, which seems kind of weird, One for All, Bait and Switch, Adrenaline Junkie. For the third column, you have Lead from Gold, Field Prep, Ambitious Assassin, Demolitionist. So many great perks on this weapon that a lot of people really like. And lastly, the weapon looks like it's just a straight up tube. It's just a tube. Beating somebody over the head with a lead pipe at this point. Following that, one of the new Dreaming City weapons, we have the Waking Vigil. Somewhat of a fan favorite as one of the better adaptive frame old 150s, which obviously means it has less range, more stability, and more magazine size at 12, and the recoil direction at 98, something that a lot of people really like. Beyond that, it also has some really damn good perks on it. Things like Opening Shot, Volt Shot, Kill Cliff. For the third column, you have Rapid Hit, or Rangefinder, or Perpetual Motion. Of course, people's favorites are probably going to be closer to Rangefinder plus Opening Shot, but I think they nerfed Rangefinder at some point, so I can't remember if people like it anymore. Either way, a lot of great perks on, again, a lower range 140, but larger mag, better control. After that, another Dreaming City option, the Vouchsafe, which is a lightweight frame scout rifle, which people really do like, obviously being in the void variety, and a lot of great perks. First of all, it has explosive payload, and if you don't know, explosive payload's probably the best perk in the game. If your weapon can have explosive payload on a primary, it's usually the best choice. Alternatively, you can go with the repulsor brace plus the stabilizing round option, which sounds like a lot of fun. Alternatively, on top of that, you also have other perks like Rapid Hit, 4 times the charm, moving target, or some new stuff as well. Following that, another returning Dreaming City weapon, we have the Retold Tail. Although this one doesn't really have that many new perks on it, being a precision buckshot frame makes it rather popular for the Crucible. And this one obviously has some good perks on it. Quick Draw or Slide Shot paired up with Snapshot Sights or Barrel Constrictor. After that, we have one of the new Season of the Undying options. If you don't know, Season of the Undying weapons are back and they're all craftable. And this one is a lightweight frame SMG, which I love lightweight frame SMGs. This one in particular, recoil at 92, fairly easy to get that one up to 100. Has a lot of great perks like Volt Shot, Swashbuckler. The third column has Threat Detector, it has Subsistence, and finally it also has the new origin trait called Nano Munitions, which is something to do with being near your allies for a certain amount of time, and when you reload an empty mag, you get a bigger mag, and that is always good on submachine. And in case you're wondering, I think the Undying stuff just drops from the Season of the Wish activity. Moving on, let's talk about one of our first heavies on the list. We have the Doomed Petitioner, which I think is going to be my #1 favorite weapon from the season. It is an aggressive frame Void linear fusion rifle, and there's a couple reasons why I really like it. First of all, I don't think we've had a Void aggressive linear fusion rifle before, but more importantly, the perks on it are kind of crazy. First of all, mag perks like Reconstruction or Envious Assassin in column 3. Again, craftable, you can pick exactly what you want. In the 4th column, we have Surrounded or the newly buffed Precision Instrument. The fact that it's based on the number of shots and aggressive frames shoot in 3 bursts means that, and I haven't tested this, it might activate Precision Instrument faster, allowing you to get 30% more damage for precision with this weapon, which is super high precision damage in the first place. Now, do I think it's going to topple the slot for Briars, which has obviously the Surrounded combo just like this one does? Maybe. And finally, the Origin trait. When an ally dies or gets critically wounded, you refill your magazine. And during a DPS phase, even with a well, that's likely going to happen constantly, especially if you're in a big thing with lots of enemies around you and surrounded. Dragon's Vengeance might make it so you don't have to reload as often either. After that, we have the Avalanche, an adaptive frame 450 machine gun that I constantly bag on because it has worse stats in almost every way than other 450 heavy machine guns. But damn, its perks are pretty damn good. This particular one obviously comes from the Dawning event, and we'll be seeing a lot of these drop. Has things like Adrenaline Junkie, Incandescent, Vorpal, Target Lock. For the 3rd column, we have Auto-Loading, Subsistence, Surplus, Rewind Wounds. Just so many great perks here. So if you like 450 or heavy machine guns, it's an okay option. After that, another heavy machine gun, we have the Marato 45, I believe a World Drop. Another adaptive frame 450 is a strand version, and again, some pretty interesting perks on it. First of all, it has Onslaught, which we've never seen on anything other than Breakneck at this point, which may make it alright, but I'll have to wait and see. Alternatively, you could go with Surrounded, or maybe do something weird with Golden Tricorn. 3rd column, you could have Threat Detector, Demo, Slice. You could also do Attrition Orbs, or even Triple Tap, which Triple Tap's probably going to be the most popular. Following that, we have the Shiverick Fire, which, if you don't know, is a Void caster frame sword that is the current vendor weapon. And in general, vendor weapons have really not been that great. And I don't think that this weapon is going to be that great, but there are some interesting things about it. First of all, you look at the different perk options, you can easily do something like Relentless plus Attrition Orbs, which, if you don't know, this season we had a bunch of nerfs to the orb generation stuff, like the Reaper mods, Firepower, etc., giving them a longer time to actually activate. And having this sword as an option to spawn orbs to your team just by dealing damage to a target could be an alternative way to get that done. Although we do have attrition orbs on other weapons, this is one way to do it. Alternatively, Repulsor Brace plus Destabilizing Rounds, which is always a fun combo as well, keeping alive lots of overshields and lots of void stuff in close range. Do I think it's going to be good? No, but it's interesting. Following that, another not good but kind of interesting, we have the Zephyr, another Dawning weapon that is a stasis adaptive frame, and the only reason I'm really interested, just like before, is because it has Cold Steel, which allows your powered sword hits, and weirdly enough your light hits as well, to slow targets with your sword, which is kind of cool, although not overpowered. And finally, when it comes to the dungeon weapons, which unfortunately are not listed on LightGG right now, we have the Indebted Kindness, which is a new frame of sidearm. It is an ARC special ammo rocket sidearm, and I've not received it. I don't know how it really works, but it's new, and I definitely want to get my hands on one. In particular, for the perks, you can get Lead from Gold or Impulse Amplifier, which could be pretty nice for this weapon. 4th column, we have Surrounded, Volt Shot, or even Attrition Orbs? Nah, probably not. Either way, it's unique, and I look forward to seeing it. Otherwise, when it comes to the exotic from the dungeon, that crossbow thing with the Devour and the weakened stuff just didn't seem like it was really good, so it's not on my list. And finally, that last exotic weapon, which is the bow, which we haven't seen yet, just kind of seems like that stasis version that creates crystals. Instead, it's just with Suspend, and Suspend may be better, but I just don't think it's going to really be that different. And of course, a big thank you to my patrons on Patreon. Specifically, big thank you to Mom, Dad, Kate Bashal, Waffle Prez, Joe Batten, Robert Strayer, James Osler, Ethan Hodges, Monty Armstrong, Monday, Stu Buckner, Suna Panther, Casey Reagan, William Pearson, Benjamin, and Sam Galaxy for your support on Patreon. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Dychronic, and I'll see you guys on the next one.